What I want to do is remove this recycle here. Let me just get the angle a bit better so you can see all of them. So how I like to do this is you can just pinch it here. I'm going to use some clamps, surgical clamps, but you can just pinch it. And then what you want to do is I like to cut these off with a sharp knife. You just want to cut through it. And then you want to take this. If you hold it upright, it's not gonna leak out. And what we want to do is get rid of, we don't want the white ink to come back in. So we want to just bring that over, and then we're going to attach it into our waste bucket here. So I'm going to just leave it like that. And then, so you can see, I just got a bucket here, and I need to just tape this in place. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm going to just tape this guy right there, and that should be good. Hopefully that won't come out. And so just make sure that that doesn't come. So now, normally, you know, if you were cleaning this out, we would then remove this, cut this off. You can just leave this on for now, because once you return the printer, we can do all of this. So now we just need to empty out the colors. So to save the ink, obviously you would just pour this back into your white container. As I mentioned before, a jug's good. I'm just going to grab something. So with this one, I don't have a lot of white ink in here, so I'm just going to carefully remove this. And okay, I'm going to show you on the next video. We're going to just disconnect this. It's going to be easier. Connected this part. Where the white, we put it in. And to make things easier, we're going to just disconnect this guy here, because it's not long enough for me to get in there. So pull it around, comes here, and there's a plug. Just going to undo this plug right here. And again, this is your unit, so I'm gonna put this back on. We just want to give it a little bit more slack from what it's got. So sometimes if it is pinched like this one, you can just bend it forward a little bit. You should be able to give it a little bit more slack here. So again, okay. And then if it is stuck like this one is, we can just, you're going to need to do this anyway, just under, let me see if I can get the phone. So just under here, we're just going to loosen these screws. And these screws, you're going to need to do this to ship the unit back because of, so we should do this anyway, because of it won't fit in the crate with this up. So what we do is we just loosen these. At that point, we should be able to just slide this whole unit down. And as you can see, I just slid this, so now all the screws at the top. And then we're going to just tighten this up. And you don't have to tighten all of them. I just like to tighten the two left and right, because when we get your machine back. So when you get this machine, you will have to raise this up a little bit. Just because of how it ships, it fits in the crate. So now you can see that's freed up this. And I come down, this is where it was pinching, and I'm going to get you back on the stand. Give me a second. So now we are nice and loose. We can actually get this pulled out. And just take this one all the way out. And that was stopping us emptying the white. So again, your one may be already low. So if it is, it may come out a lot easier. I mean, at this point, we're just going to take an empty thing. And now, as you can see, I can actually tilt this and very carefully pour it in. And be careful, you can see that where the recirculation is, that will also leak a little bit. So that's great. And that one's empty. So the other one's going to be a lot easier because we don't have the white stirrer. So I'm going to go ahead and just empty the rest of the CYMK. And then once I've done that, I'll be back. So one easy way, if you are having trouble, just get a blade, very carefully, just cut into the top of it like this. And then, just as long as you get the top, and you get that top bit cut, it should come off fairly easily. Like this, and then you just have to give it a little cut. And twisting really helps with these. And then as you twist it, you're going to see it just come off slowly. It is a bit of a pain, but it will come off. Be careful not to slice yourself. And then let's just give another little cut on here. And there we go. So that comes off. Now what you're going to want to do with this bit is you're going to want to, before we put these back on, we're going to just come and with a sharp blade, it's just the part which was stretched, we're going to cut off. This is going to ensure that when we put them back on, you get a really nice tight fit. So again, if you find it easier to do this, you can just cut these off. The other way to do it is you have to get your nail up and then you can just pull down. And as you pull down, it will come down. It's a little bit trickier, but if you get it right and you've got strong nails, you can do it. So whatever way works best for you, either if you want to use a blade or just you get your nail in there, this is a great way to take them off. Always have a rag or something here. Always have a little container just to put these in. And now we've got all these out. Do be careful because of, even though we put water in and we flushed them out, there's still a little ink residue. And now we can take these out again. Upright, we don't want them to leak here. And we're going to take these and we're going to give these a good rinse out. And once we've done that, we'll be ready to do the final flush. Okay, so now we've just rinsed out with some hot water. So we've given these a good rinse out. Now this part's important, as I told you. We don't want any contaminants getting in here. And with tap water, there can be contaminants. So at this point, we take some of our distilled water and we just want to pour a little bit into each container. And I have to put a lot. And you can see I've got this upright because if I do this, it's going to leak everywhere. And I'm going to just put this on and then just give it a little slosh around and then just dump it out. That's the final thing we do. So now we're making sure that if there was any contaminants which got in there, we're just doing the final flush. Going to do this with all of them, and then we'll put them back in the machine and we'll be ready for the final flush. Okay, so now we've emptied all of these out. And there's still bits of it, there's still ink in them. We really want to clean these out. So I start off, the first one we do is we just fill it about halfway with distilled water. Make sure to use distilled water. Again, there's no contaminants in it, and I'm actually filling this one up a little bit more. So you may want to do a little bit more than half, but about half is a good way to start. This water's going to it's going to really help break down and loosen up that ink. And especially with the white, I always like the white's going to pump more. So I normally fill up the white full. And then I do about half with the other colors. And now once we've got that, we want to put our lids back on and put them on nice and tight. Put our black on nice and tight. Magenta nice and tight. Yellow nice and tight. And white. So we want to be careful with the white. As I said, the white has a little breathe hole, so we may get a little bit of splash, but I'm going to take it off, hold up that, and I'm just going to give it a little shake. Just want to, get all of that ink, make sure that my container's as clean as possible. And with these for yellow, do the same, get that a little splash around. The same with the magenta. We're going to just shake that up. Shake up the cyan. And then we're going to shake up the black. Okay, so now we've got water in all of these. Loosen up the caps again. You need to have the caps loosened in order to for them to breathe. And then I'll be back with the next part. So now we're going to do the manual pump. 2 heads. And we've got all the recycle is nice and clean. You can see that. So now what we're going to see here is now we're going to pump out. And you're going to see just all of these lines. Any of the white and the colors which were still in the lines are now going to be flushed all the way through. Again, I don't like to pump for more than a minute, but again, what we're looking for is for this waste pipe to be completely clean and clear, just like the recirculation pipe. And that's beautiful. That's what we're looking at. All of these lines are nice and clear. And we do see we got a little bit of ink still in the dampers, but that's not a big problem. I'm going to just stop this for a minute. And we still have some white ink in the lines. And we go and check how much water. We still got a good amount of water in here. And we're going to go back and we're going to just continue. And we do this about 2 to 3 times. Again, we want to just make sure that all of these lines are perfectly clear. And this is looking great. And we also want to make sure this line, once this line here, the waste line, becomes clear, that's when we flushed all of the ink out the system. So I'm going to come back here. Let's see how we do. So you can see it's starting to get clear. We're looking for it to be this clear. So I think one more pump after this and we should be good. So now we're going to do the manual pump. 2 heads. And we've got all the recycle is nice and clean. You can see that. So now what we're going to see here is now we're going to pump out. And you're going to see just all of these lines, any of the white and the colors which were still in the lines are now going to be flushed all the way through. Again, I don't like to pump for more than a minute, but again, what we're looking for is for this waste pipe to be completely clean and clear, just like the recirculation pipe. And that's beautiful. That's what we're looking at. All of these lines are nice and clear. And we do see we got a little bit of ink still in the dampers. But that's not a big problem. I'm going to just stop this for a minute. And we still have some white ink in the lines. And we go and check how much water. We still got a good amount of water in here. And we're going to go back and we're going to just continue. And we do this about 2 to 3 times. Again, we want to just make sure that all of these lines are perfectly clear. And this is looking great. And we also want to make sure this line, once this line here, the waste line, becomes clear, that's when we flushed all of the ink out the system. So I'm going to come back here. Let's see how we're doing. So you can see it's starting to get clear. We're looking for it to be this clear. So I think one more pump after this and we should be good. Okay, so now we've got it clean we've just emptied the water which was left in here. A little bit of distilled water. We do the final flush. And again, just go to manual pump. And this shouldn't take long. You can see we've already got some air in the lines here. And we just want to do a quick little pump just to remove any of the water which is still in there. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of water in here. That's perfectly fine. I also put a recirculation pump on to pump out any water in the recirculation. As you can see, our line is nice and clear now, all of our lines. And we don't want to run it we really want to be careful because you don't want to run it with too long with air. So that should be good. And as you can see, all the lines are now clear. We can take and look at the dampers. The dampers are nice and clean. This is really important because of these dampers. See, there's a little bit of ink dried up there. So we're actually going to replace these dampers, getting ready to ship this unit out. So I want to make sure that there's just no any ink residue left in the dampers. So we will replace these before we ship them, just to be super sure. Especially like this one, you can see we've still got a little residue. At this point, we could do another flush, but I think this is good enough. And again, we're going to be changing these dampers, so we're going to put new dampers in this. So make sure that there's none of those ink particles. And that's it. And now we're ready to, the next stage is we've got to secure the carriage, and I'll show you how to do that now. Okay, so we've finished doing all the pumping. Still, all the lines are nice and clear. You can see all the lines beautiful. Remaining water we're going to just empty, but just give a good clean under the head. Make sure that there's no ink around here. Any ink which is left could dry up, and then when you re-ink the machine, it could cause some issues. And then we're just going to go back here to the home position, do one final pump, and we should be good to then pack it up. So we're going to power down now everything. We've flushed out all the water. Final thing is just to put this bracket on, and you're going to just pull the belt like this. You see the two little screw holes. Put that bracket in. Belt's going to clip on top. And just take the back screws. And this just stops the carriage moving around in transit. And then the plate goes on top, and then there's just two screws normally to hold this in place. We put them diagonally, one on the top and one on the bottom. And we just tighten those up, and now the carriage is secure and we're ready to ship. And again, we see this is, give this a final clean and ready to go.